Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Friday's episode of Ask Eman, where we're going to be here to take your questions, as usual, brothers and sisters, about your life as a Muslim or any situations or matters you may be going through that you need advice with from an Islamic perspective. So to give us a call is the usual number on 0203 5150 769. Otherwise, you can reach us by sending your written questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, or if you're tuned in on our YouTube live stream, you'll be able to put your questions at the comment section, inshallah. So without further ado, I'll be your host for today, and joining us is Shaykh Suliman Gani. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you today, Shaykh?
Alhamdulillah, really enjoying the beautiful sunny days.
Yes, Shaykh. It's a pleasure to have you with us as usual, Shaykh. Sheikh, the garment you're wearing, is this Libyan or Tunisian? Tell us a bit more about it. It looks like it has some Islamic heritage to it.
Well, you got me
Off guard.
Off guard, yes.
That's
nevertheless, I'm just here to
impart some Islamic knowledge, yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what to say, because at the end of it, mashallah, it is just preparing for a wonderful program in your company.
Oh, thank you so much, Sheikh. May Allah bless you. We do that, sometimes just to keep the things alive, Sheikh. I asked to show you questions off guard. You're not just so everyone knows, it's not rehearsed at all, the show, The questions you receive aren't rehearsed, Sheikh. You're not ready for them. So, we that's how we approach the show.
Yes, so all I could say is Inna Allah Jamilun Yuhibbul Jamal. Yes, Allah Ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty. And it is like saying, Wa amma bi ni'mati rabbika fahaddith. Sometimes a person is like saying the ni'mah and the blessing that we enjoy. And it is, when somebody, it just reminds me that the person was asked that the person loves to wear beautiful clothing. And, is it a sign of pride, arrogance? No, because really al-kibru is ghamtun nas or batr al-haq. So if we wear something nice and we look down upon other people, then that is where kibr is.
Yes,
and rejecting the truth also, that is where kibr is. So may Allah Ta'ala protect us. So it is just like saying sometimes whenever I go out, I have to look beautiful.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So I think that's something that's good for us to go into, Sheikh.
But that's in the eyes of the beholder. But anyway.
Yes, the beauty, of course. And we want to pay attention to the beauty in the eyes of Allah, in the sight of Allah. So, Sheikh, could you tell us a bit about the part where you said the kibr it comes from rejecting the truth as well? Just so we understand that a bit better, because we may not pay attention to this, but sometimes from our arrogance, we can reject the truth. Not, of course, as Muslims, we believe Allah is, everything to do with Tawheed and everything. But there are matters in Islam which we may reject unknowingly because of our arrogance, including myself.
Yeah, at times, sometimes a person, he may have a beautiful home, he have a beautiful car and all that. And it doesn't mean he has kibr and pride. It is a ni'mah and blessing Allah has given him, so he's enjoying it. But it is more like if a person is being presented with something that is haqq and the truth. And it should not be sometimes that a person, as Allah Ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَى رَبُّهُ فَأَكْرَمَهُ وَنَعَّمَهُ فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمَنِ. Sometimes a person can feel when he has a lot of wealth and he has a palatial home and he has beautiful cars, beautiful, home, wife, children, everything, you know what I mean? And then he feels as if though Allah has honored him. And sometimes, there can be a kibr can enter him and he starts looking down upon other people. But it is not that, he has the feeling as if though Allah has given him and blessed him, and now he's saying as if though he is somebody very special. So that can also lead to kibr and pride. So that is where another danger is. But on the other hand, somebody, he has wealth and he knows that this is a ni'mah and blessing from Almighty Allah Ta'ala. But it doesn't turn him away from the remembrance of Allah. So it all depends. Rejecting the truth, yes, it can happen that a person feels that he is independent, or he becomes so independent that he feels that he can also lose his tawakkul and reliance in Allah. It can also lead him that he feels that he has so much of wealth in abundance, as if though this is or it may never diminish, or it's going to be with him forever. And there are many examples Allah also gives us in the Quran. The stories and parables of the person who had a big, great wealth and gardens. But point is, when you are asking about batrul haq, yes, rejecting the haq. The haq is presented in front of somebody. He knows what is the truth. He understands it. But when he rejects it openly, blatantly ignoring the injunction of Allah, and we have many examples, even with relation to the current situation, so many issues. There are those who are openly challenging the status of hijab in the Quran. There are those who are completely rejecting that the issue on homosexuality, as Allah Ta'ala has mentioned and presented in the Quran, openly in the Quran, Batrul Haq, rejecting it. There are those who completely reject the beautiful beard, legal status of the beard. If somebody says to you, the Prophet ﷺ, he had a beard, and he said, lengthen the beard. They said, no, it is just a sunnah, or it means if somebody shaves it completely. He is a perpetual sinner. He is rejecting the truth. There are many examples. May Allah Ta'ala protect us. And yes, indeed, we are very, very greatly concerned about so many fitan that is coming upon us. And Muslims, when they themselves are promoting, supporting. One example is the LGBT issue is very, very serious. Allah protect us. May Allah. Will that be enough, or you want me to elaborate?
That's completely fine, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. So, Shaykh, another thing we'd like to speak about is just advice in terms of our youth, Shaykh. We find that a lot of Muslim youth, the youth in general, are involved in this, but also Muslim youth are caught up in this.
Subhanallah, you have really, yes. I don't know whether to say you hit the nail of the head. In fact, today when I was reading the paper.
I wasn't, Shaykh, finished the question.
Sorry.
Okay. You read my mind, Shaykh. You knew I was going to ask.
Yeah, I thought you were asking about the knife.
No, I was, Shaykh. Yeah, I was.
Knife
I
crime.
was going to get to that, but mashallah, you are very updated on the issue that you went.
Now, when I share with you, this is very, very touching. Very heartbreaking. The family of the teenagers stabbed to death outside a greengrocer shop said yesterday they moved to Britain for a better, safer life. Yusuf Muhammad, 18-year-old, was ambushed by two men in Shepherd's Bush, West London, on Wednesday night. Yusuf, who hoped to become an engineer, appeared to beg the thugs not to attack, but they stabbed him in the chest, followed him into the shop, and set upon him as he tried to escape. Now, this is knife stabbing. Lives matter. And there are many of our youngsters, sadly enough, this gang culture, this knife culture, and it has reached an endemic proportion. It is really alarming. It's very saddening. When you have names, and it is unbelievable that what is going and what is the condition of our youth today. So there are those who are turning away from the deen. There are those who are engaging in many, many crimes, criminal acts, which is really shows that we have a serious problem. And that's why our masajid have a very important, it is like the pivot of all activities. Our youth need to be connected to the house of Allah, to the masajid. So we need to really think as we enter into the summertime. While there will be those who will be, when I think about only last week I was there with the scouts. We have in our masjid, the Pearly Masjid 30th Scouts group. And subhanallah, spending time and seeing many of the youngsters, it all depends, the group leaders and how they organize them and how they're giving them certain skills. So very, very interesting to spend time and to learn that what can we do to keep our youth, occupied, engaging in activities which is beneficial for them, especially during the summertime. So the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam come to mind. Man human la yashbi'an. It is ni'matan maghbunun fihima kathir min an-nas. Ni'matan. Two types of blessings which most of the people are very unmindful. We take it for granted. One is sihha, one is good health, and the other is faragh, our free time. Question is, how are we going to spend our free time, the summer break? During that time, our youth need to be really how can we keep them focused, engaged? How can we keep them occupied in matters that will protect them? Is that okay?
That is okay, Sheikh. Thank you so much. So, Sheikh, we're going to go now to our questions from WhatsApp. Our first question for today is: if I were to go to the cinema with my friends that are girls, and it's my first time, would it be permissible? Of course, seeing the context of or the question how it's been put, I think is being put by someone who's a boy or a man. So yes, Sheikh, if we could answer it that way, thank you.
So what you're doing in the cinema,
In the cinema,
where the sin is committed?
good one, Sheikh.
No, it all depends what you are viewing. Sometimes you have beautiful, good, important educational programs. It's just like the television. You have the television and you can watch Eman channel and benefit, inshallah. At the same time, you can have a television and you can watch, yeah,
Yes, Sheikh.
I mean, a movie, whatever.
Yeah.
So there are people watching Bollywood, the other watching Hollywood.
I have to stop you there, Sheikh. We're going to
Okay.
take a short break now, and then we'll come back to continue our questions.
Jazakallah
inshallah.
khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in so far. Stay tuned for the next part of our show, inshallah, and we'll be back shortly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Eman Live. Today is Friday's episode and it's great to have you with us, brothers and sisters. So if you have any questions, as usual, the number to dial is 0203 515 0769 to ask your questions. Otherwise, you can also send your questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, and if you're watching along on YouTube, you're able to leave your question at the comment section, inshallah. All of these details will be at the bottom left side of your screen, inshallah. Welcome back after the break. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
So, how are you, Shaykh?
Alhamdulillah, by the mercy and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are well and just looking forward to the next moon.
Okay, Shaykh. So, speaking about that, Shaykh, after the next month, which is Dhul Qa'dah, we have Dhul Hijjah.
MashaAllah.
And what can we benefit from these, the month of Dhul Hijjah, the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the Hajj season, Yawm Arafah? What, as Ramadan, Shaykh, is there so we can attain taqwa? And we have Laylatul Qadr as well. What can we attain and gain from this blessed month of Dhul Hijjah? If we were to look at one or two things, the main things.
The main thing, as you know me and the people who know me, I'm here to stop the moon wars. So what's happening, we're going to look for Dhul Hijjah and you already jumped over Dhul Qa'dah. And you cannot enter into Dhul Qa'dah without looking for the moon. So my advice to your viewers of Ask Eman, on Wednesday, 3rd of July, they need to go out there and look for that crescent moon. Because this is what we really can bring about a unity. Can you challenge me and tell me, is it against the sunnah to ask people to look for the moon? So that is why, inshallah, we hope that this Wednesday, 3rd of July, I will be in Seville, in Spain, southern Spain, and we are going to look for a crescent moon. So it is a passion that we have for people to start uniting and encouraging and motivating to do this action of the Prophet ﷺ for every month. Because now when you speak about Dhul Hijjah, do you know you cannot enter the month of Dhul Hijjah except إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْحِلَالِ. When you see that moon, then you have the virtues. What do you do in such a beautiful month, the month of Dhul Hijjah? So I think your question is, yes, what was the main point you wanted to to highlight?
So, so after, Shaykh, of course, we established the beginning of Dhul Hijjah, as you said correctly.
But how can you establish Dhul Hijjah when you haven't established Dhul Qa'dah?
Of course, Shaykh, you are the professional, Shaykh. You are the one who knows about that. So
I must bring to your attention that the moon on 3rd of July is going to be 46 minutes on the horizon after sunset. It's going to be 25-hour old, and it's going to have its altitude. Altitude is going to be 5 degrees, that's why if conditions are very, very good, then only you're able to see it, because we need it. And so therefore what we are encouraging it, we have to look and try and get into the understanding of promoting local sighting, like how they do it in Morocco. Maghrib. You are from Maghrib?
Yes, I am, Shaykh.
MashaAllah. 278 locations they do moon sighting. But here in the UK, when the month of Dhul Hijjah start, we're going to do moon sighting. So what exactly do you want me to speak about?
Tell us, Shaykh, about what you mean when you say the moon is a certain amount of hours old. I've always wondered about that when I heard it. When you say 25 hours old or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have your sun, moon and earth in one line. It's called Waqtul Iqtiran, and from the time of the birth of the moon till your sunset, that gives you the age of the moon. So on 3rd of July, Wednesday, it will be 25 hours old moon. So it means that's very good for visibility, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy. When you enter into the month of Dhul Hijjah, then there are so many virtues and fada'il. So it's all about our coinciding with the many actions that the Hujjaj will be engaging in. Imagine a time is coming where we will be reflecting on the story of Ibrahim Khalilullah. Right now my understanding is we all should be reading about the story of Lut alayhi salam, because nations in the past also had perished. So we need to read about that story which is in the Quran. And when we come to the month of Dhul Hijjah, then we can read about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So that's how I'm trying to get people to connect. Because we just left the month of Ramadan, and Ramadan is the Shahrul Quran. So I hope it's very useful, especially given that so many, every day that the sun is rising upon us, it's getting hotter. And, we're reading about the young 12-year-old that passed away, drowned in a lake or river there in Berry. Uh, you know, there are times where people are going out to look for enjoyment, entertainment, and pleasure, and there are people who are going to spend. I'm just trying to draw a parallel that Allah has given us a deen, a religion. We have these days and these months are for the Hujjaj, where they will be spending time in the tents in Mina, and then they will be going to Arafat, then they will going to Muzdalifah and spend it in the open. Here we have people are going over 100,000 people who will be spending their few days in tents, and we wonder, as believers, as Muslims, what does Islam say about how do we protect and safeguard ourselves from أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى, because there are people who don't even have a belief in a creator, so they will be following their hawa, so they will be alcohol, and they will be the drug addiction and extravaganza, the music, all these things are taking a people away, so much so they become engrossed in whatever they are doing that they will forget. Especially if a person, imagine he's a Muslim and he joins and he goes and he becomes part of that, they say like the Glastonbury example, and imagine if he goes and he participates and he forgets that there is purpose of life. What will be our condition if we lose and we die, and on that condition? So we have to be concerned and worried, because we are in special days, special months, and hence this is an excellent time to engage and prepare and learn about Hajj itself.
Yes, Shaykh. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh, for your advice. As you said, the lives of the prophets,
Yes.
from Lut to Ibrahim to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam, we should be looking at all of them as examples, especially when it comes to enjoying good and forbidding evil, overall into, what benefits us as, leading the healthiest life possible on earth. Also, Sheikh, about the concerts. Many concerts happen around the world, not just the one that you mentioned. There are many in the UK and across the world as well. So everyone should practice caution if they go, and of course we're here to advise people towards the healthiest way of life possible. As you said, thousands or millions of people, millions, right, Sheikh, go to Hajj.
Millions are going for Hajj.
For Hajj, yes. So there's, as people congregate for certain other things, others are going on pilgrimage and congregating for the sake of Allah.
Allah has given us Inna hadaynahu sabil. Now we have shown you the way. Imma shakira wa imma kafura. Either we be grateful, and as believers, as people of faith, we know we have limitations, there are restrictions, and a person now, if he just follows his hawa and his nafs and desire, that means he is going to be very ungrateful to his creator. So we have to decide.
Yes, Sheikh. Okay, Sheikh, thank you so much for that. We're going to now go to our WhatsApp questions. Our next WhatsApp question is Assalamu alaikum. In Salah after Surah Al-Fatiha, can I recite Inni wajjatu?
Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi.
From Surah Al-An'am before ruku', or is this not long enough for the raka'ah? But before that, Sheikh, we have to go to our caller, and then we'll come back to this question. So, Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? If you could do me a favor and turn your TV down once we come back to you, inshallah, because we'll move on to our question now. Once we're back to you, brother or sister, turn your TV down just so we can hear each other at the same time, inshallah. So the question, Sheikh, is after Surah Al-Fatiha, can I recite Inni wajjahtu? Is that the ayah?
Reading a verse of the Quran, there's no problem. Even if you read that verse, it's fine.
So if it's just one verse,
one ayah, as
and
long
then
as
going into ruku'. Sorry.
yes, one long ayah is sufficient.
Thank you, Shaykh. Excuse me. Our next question, Shaykh, is if a person makes a conditional vow to Allah but was immature, for example, the age of 15, and unaware of the commitment the person was getting themselves into, is the person still liable if they break the vow?
Yes, I mean the best is if it's broken, then one may have to keep the fast, 3 fast, inshallah.
What's that fast called for breaking a vow, Shaykh?
That's a good question. It's like a kafara, but it is for breaking a vow.
Yeah, it's
So
called something, right, Shaykh?
then can't.
We'll find out after the break.
Jazakallah khairan.
Don't delay call today.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone who's tuned in so far. We're going to take a short break, an hour for a few minutes as usual, and then we'll be back to continue our show after the break for the next part, inshallah. So once we're back, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, pick up the phone and dial 0203 5150 769. Otherwise, you have our other options, which are our WhatsApp number, our email address, and our YouTube live stream, where you can send all of your written questions to there, inshallah. For now, stay tuned and see you in a few minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Eman Friday's episode live. We're here over the next 30 minutes, brothers and sisters, with you to take your questions about Islam and get them answered for you, for your benefit and our benefit, inshallah. So if you have any questions, give us a call or send us a message. You'll find all the details you need coming and going at the bottom left side of your screen. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So with that, we're going to go to our next caller now. So assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak into the phone, please?
Alaikum.
Oh, assalamu alaikum. I can hear you now, yes.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fatima Yaqub.
Welcome to the show, sister, and your question.
Yeah.
Sister, if you could please turn down your TV and listen to me through the phone, that will be much easier in terms of the sound coming through.
You know Ramadan Fitra?
One more time?
Yeah, I listen from the phone, yeah.
That's fine. Your question is about fidya?
Fitra.
Fitra.
Yeah.
Okay. Fitra, you mean Eman, to do with Eman? Or do you mean Fitra?
Ramadan. You know Ramadan, the one you fasting, we have to pay zakat ourselves.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, then. Okay, so Zakatul Fitr.
Yes.
What about it? What about Zakatul Fitr?
You know when you send to abroad, outside the country, you give it to some people atama, or some people they said you don't send abroad. You have to pay in the country, someone in the country.
Okay then. Thank you so much for your call, sister. Stay on, keep watching and we'll get you the answer, inshallah. Thank you so much. So we'll go to our next caller now. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, we'll move on to our next caller. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm calling from Bradford.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
And your question?
My question is just regarding if you have intention to pray the Fajr prayer and you kind of regularly pray, and on some odd occasions when you don't wake up, and then for example my eyes will open at like 4 o'clock but the sky's white, so I just think to myself, okay, let's leave this now. I'll just read it later on. But maybe like 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Is that the right thing to do? Or should you pray straight away? And the other quick question is regarding, in the Sunnah prayers, the two before Fajr, the two after Zohar, etc. Is Surah Fatiha sufficient, or do you have to read the Surah following Surah Fatiha in each rakah instead?
Okay, so your second question was, do you have to read Surah Al-Fatiha every rak'ah?
No, you have to read the Surah after Surah
it.
Fatiha.
Okay, this is in the compulsory prayers, right? The 5.
No. In the Sunnah prayers.
In the Sunnah prayers. Okay then, brother.
Yes.
Thank you so much for clarifying. Do you have any more questions?
I know you have to read Surah Fatiha in every rak'ah no matter what, whether it's Sunnah or not Sunnah. I'm wondering about the additional Surah. Do you have to do that in the Nafil prayers, Sunnah prayers?
Okay then, got it. Do you have another question?
That's it. Just the Fajr one, really. That's an important one. That's the main one.
Understood. Thank you so much, brother. Stay tuned for the answer. Inshallah, we'll get that answered for you right after we get through all of our calls, inshallah. Thank you so much. Okay, so we don't have any more callers at the moment. So for the brothers and sisters that did call, if you'd like to call back and ask your questions, you're very welcome to, inshallah. So Shaykh, the sister asked about fitrana.
Yeah, I mean, the Sadaqat al-Fitr, remember that has to be given before the day of Eid. So when a person is discharging and doing this, it's like tu'matun lil masakin wa tuhratun للصائمين. It is a means of how a person, like our fast is suspended, we make so much of mistakes in our keeping of our fast. So this Sadaqat al-Fitra should reach those who are eligible for it before even the day of Eid, so that on the day of Eid there is nobody begging, everybody's enjoying happiness, day of celebration. So if somebody needs to give it in advance also and send it abroad, all that is permissible, and it needs to be given for every member of the family, even if a child is born on the day, and it all has to be done before the day of Eid. So most important, it is Ramadan is gone, and any sadaqah that is given after the day of Eid, it is not the same as Sadaqat al-Fitr that was given before the Eid prayer.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Now the sister mentioned about people abroad. So can your Zakatul Fitr go for those that need it abroad outside of the country?
Yeah, I mean it is permissible, but then people do it and also they send it in advance so that at least it can reach them before the day of Eid, or even on the day of Eid they have their money or whatever that has been given for them. So it is permissible, yes.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Just so we can understand, Shaykh, actually you've answered the question, it's fine. So the brother asked, first of all he asked, his second question was about Surah Al-Fatiha. Do we need to, is it a must that we recite a surah after Surah Al-Fatiha in the Sunnah prayers?
Yeah, I mean in the Sunnah prayers we do recite a surah after the Surah Fatiha. In the Farad it's only Surah Fatiha. If you're doing a 4 rak'at, 4 units of prayer, then Surah Fatiha is recited in the second, the third and the fourth. But in the Sunnah prayers you recite surah after the Surah Fatiha, yes.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Jazakallah khairan.
Okay, so the brother, his other question was, if you wake up having missed Salatul Fajr, you wake up, you see daylight, and you think, because I've missed it, I'll just go back to sleep and make it up later, since I have to make it up anyway. It's qada anyway. I'm not praying the salah itself, meaning on its time. Is this okay, or do you have to get up and pray immediately? Otherwise you'd be sinful.
I mean, I think the point he raised and he mentioned about 4 o'clock or something. But remember, as long as your Fajr prayer is offered before the sunrise, then you have performed it in this time. So you have a beginning time, you have an end time. And if you're performing at the beginning time, and remember we are still in the abnormal period of time, which commences on the 21st of May, ends on the 23rd of July here in London area. So in Bradford it will be much, meaning the abnormal period started much earlier. But generally, if you are in the abnormal period of time, and in London it is still where the sun does not go below the horizon sufficient enough to abolish the twilight, and hence we are following a criteria for those who are using this as Aqrabul Ayyam, 1 hour 23 minutes. As you go up north, it could be much earlier. There are those who are dividing the night into Nisful Layl, so it could be even just past 1 o'clock, 1:06, 1:07, meaning there is a beginning time. So you are still allowed to do your Fajr prayer at the beginning time until in London is 23rd of July. But if somebody now wakes up and he sees it is bright, yes, it will be bright because we are in the abnormal period of time, but you are still in its time. As long as the sun has not risen, you perform your prayer. So for example, if your congregational prayer is 4:15 and if your sunrise is 4:45, that is asfiru bil fajri fa innahu a'zamu lil ajri, based on the differences that we have in the mazahib. And the ahnaf, they would normally delay the fajr prayer more closer to the sunrise, and hence you will find it quite bright. So this is also a valid opinion. But if you completely slept, رفع القلم عن النائم حتى يستيقظ, so the pen is lifted on this person that has slept. So he did not oversleep deliberately, he did not wake up, he set the alarm and he still overslept. Then as soon as he remembers, yes, you don't go back to sleep, you should offer your prayer. And if it's after the sunrise, it's better to do it as soon as you can.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We have some callers waiting on the line, Shaykh, but I'd like to ask you, what if you oversleep every day?
Now you are making a joke.
No, seriously, Shaykh.
Every day you oversleep?
Yes, every day you oversleep. Is there such thing?
You must be living on the moon. I think this is all about your own.
Yeah.
If a person, if he has and is really, really, it is like the self discipline. When you know for sure what is the reward of your Fajr prayer, and if you understand that every day when you go to sleep and the shaitan ties the 3 knots behind, at the nape of your neck, and for you is a long sleep and you don't wake up, and if you sleep and you sleep, then you will wake up khabithun nafs. And you know what really it means? That your whole day will be a miserable, even though you may have a good night's sleep, but then you will not have that really, you will find something that you have missed out. And this is the sign of the weakness of Iman, because you cannot oversleep every day. It doesn't make sense. So when you wake up, you make your dua, you do your wudu, and you offer your prayer, the 3 knots are untied. So most important, you have to really be motivated.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. Once we're back, we're going to go to our callers, inshallah. So we know you're waiting on the phone. As soon as we're back after this break, we'll start taking the calls, inshallah. So please stay tuned for now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the last part of our show. For the next 10 minutes, we'll be live taking your questions, brothers and sisters. So if you have any, give us a call by dialing 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send your message, written questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, or YouTube, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. And now we're going to go to our next caller of the show, as promised. So, assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuhu. My name is Junaid. I'm calling from London. Sorry about that, what happened before.
It's okay.
I have two questions. One question is regarding the awrah in Salah. What do you do if, or according to Hanbali madhab, that, and according to evidence from Quran and Sunnah, that if, your awrah shows, but it's like a small bit of your awrah, and it's only for a small amount of time. So, for example, I was praying Asr, and I think I might have seen, because one of my trousers had a little bit of a hole in it, so I think I can see like a little bit of my thigh covering on my underlayer. So I quickly put my shorts on top of it. So is my salah still fine? That's my first question. And my second question is in terms of making dua. I know that making dua, it could be done with like raising your hands to Allah and showing your hands to Allah. But I think I've also heard that it can be done with, like, for example, holding your finger up. And so, for example, if you're out in the public and everything, is it still fine, like, if you're just, like, for example, waiting in the bus stop to raise your hands out for dua, or does that not really fit the context? Because, so, if I want to make dua in public, should I do that same thing, please? Jazakallah khair.
Oh, yeah, brother Junaid. What was your first question again? Please just remind me.
About the awrah.
That's
about
it.
if my awrah, a small bit of my awrah might
Got
show
it.
during the salah and I quickly cover it or something.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the answer, inshallah. So, Shaykh, brother Junaid asked two questions. First of all, about the awrah. If it's revealed during salah, or how much of the awrah can be revealed, that would make the salah still permissible. For example, if he has a hole in his trousers or his shorts that are from a part of his awrah, how much of that needs to be apparent to invalidate the salah? Number one. Number two, he would like to know about the again, same thing when it comes to dua. What validates dua? What invalidates dua? Particularly when it comes to raising the hands.
Yeah, at the end of it, the awrah is that part of the body that needs to be covered from the navel to the knee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a condition of the salah for the prayer to be valid. Now, if some awrah, how does it become uncovered, or if there is a small hole, or that would not really affect the salah, because as long as most of the awrah is covered. So it could be as long as maybe you could have started his salah. No, it all depends. What does it mean? Did he know about it? Didn't know about it? But if it is very small and you cannot really see his awrah, what if it's completely uncovered? Then you are missing out on the condition of the salah, meaning from the navel to the knee. That part of the body for the male has to be covered as a condition throughout the salah. But obviously there are a lot of details. But I think that shouldn't really worry him if a small little bit was torn, trouser, whatever. May Allah make it, Allah accept, inshallah. When it comes to the dua at the end of it is essence of worship. So when we are making dua, there are narrations where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about a person when he's even on a journey, and then وَهُوَ يَمُدُّ يَدَيْهِ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. So generally, يَمُدُّ يَدَيْهِ is really where you raise your hands. رَفْعُ الْيَدَيْن, you are raising your hands up to the sky, to the sama. So that is from the etiquette and adab, and that is the best way when you are engaging and supplicating in dua, as opposed to just raising your finger or what and making, because it is really about a condition or a posture that you are showing and making and praying as it is normally would be the practice, inshallah. So I would say I think that was what he was referring to. So recommendation is raise both of your hands and make a dua, inshallah.
Thank you, Shaykh. So now, Shaykh, we're going to go to our next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
Wa
What's your
alaikum
name?
assalam.
You can go ahead with your question.
Okay. My question is, when you're reading a surah starting from the middle of the surah, whilst you're praying, do you have to say Bismillah, or is it alright just to say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem and continue?
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No.
All right, then thank you for your call.
You're welcome.
Jazakallah khair. So, Shaykh, a question was, if you start somewhere from the Quran.
I mean, Allah Ta'ala says in the وَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So whenever you're commencing the Quran, it doesn't matter whether you are in the middle, beginning, you always begin with أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So now, if you are suddenly opening and you're reading from anywhere, you should always read. Doesn't matter. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. That is most important for the commencement of your Quran, inshallah.
Thank you, Sheikh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp, and the question is, after praying witr, can one do nafil prayers? For example, you have prayed witr an hour, and an hour later you want to do nafil prayer.
Hour later, yes. I mean, at the end of it, there are those, they spend the night in ibadah, people are sleeping. So your witr prayer, really, if you want to do your witr prayer and leave it for the later portion of the night, like your tahajjud time, then that is most recommended. But if you fear that you may not wake up and you fall asleep, that is better to do your witr prayer after your isha farad, your sunnah, then your witr. And then after the witr prayer, if you want to do extra optional nawafil prayer, yes, leaving it for closer to before the beginning of your fajr time, then that is a very beautiful time where a person is very close to his creator, engaging in prayer while the people are, are sleeping. It's like from the long hadith, afsu salam wa at'imu ta'am wa silu al-arham wa sallu bil-layl wa nasu niyamun tadkhulu al-jannata bis-salam. That is like a narration from Abdullah ibn Salam when he came to Medina. One of the first words that he had heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you perform your prayer in such a time while the people are sleeping, ultimately entering Jannah with peace and salam.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. Now, we know there are a lot of actions, Sheikh, which are very beloved to Allah, and they have very strong virtues. And for their example is a hadith you just mentioned. So, if Sheikh were not incorporating these actions in our life, for example, visiting the sick, keeping ties with family, meaning visiting family, and if these things aren't an integral part of our everyday life, should we be concerned?
Our deen, and when you look at our Allah Ta'ala in fact informs us in the Quran, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, that you have a very high standard of character, and this is the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So our deen is not restricted to the ibadah and the worshipping of our Creator in the masajid, because whatever prayer, whatever we do, that is for our own benefit. If you do that prayer, the reward is for you. But then we have so many other, like for example, Haqqul Muslimi ala al-Muslim, the rights of a Muslim over another Muslim, Raddu Salam, replying to the greeting, Tashmit al-Atis, even the sneezing, and what is the reply for sneezing, the following the janazah, all these issues. Somebody is sick and you visit him. So we said, yes, indeed, the believer, the life of the believer, it's like a complete way of life. It should not be that we keep ourselves only so engrossed in the worship of Allah that we don't fulfill the rights of humankind. Man nafasa an mu'min kurba. So we have hadith saying, whoever removes the difficulty of a believer, Allah will remove his difficulty on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. So we need to bear in mind that one is doing a lot of good actions and a'mal. Yes, indeed, Allah Ta'ala gives glad tidings for those who have Eman and a'mal. وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار. Allah Ta'ala gives glad tidings for those who have Iman. So criteria for a person to gain entry into Jannah in the light of the verse is Iman, and then action. So what does it mean doing actions? And all the different type of action, Allah will judge our a'mal. All those a'mal will be judged according to our niyat. So you have rightly pointed out, believer has to gain nearness to Almighty Allah Ta'ala with his worship, ta'abbud, the taqarrub, and at the same time he living the life in this dunya, he needs to bear in mind that yes, indeed, there is for us in the Messenger of Allah an excellent example. So the neighbor has rights, the non-Muslim have the rights, the elderly have the rights, children have the rights, animal have the rights, environment.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. That brings us to the end of our show. I'd like to thank you, Shaykh Suliman, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. And that brings us to the end of our show. Tune in tomorrow for Ask Eman late at 10 o'clock, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.